This train could and should be featured in a popular children's cartoon. Here's why. If you have little kids, have friends with kids, or have access to the internet, you've probably heard of Bluey, the adorable Australian blue heeler beloved by children, parents, and frankly, a lot of people who are neither of those. Now, many cartoon characters live in fictional places, but not Bluey. She lives somewhere that exists for real life. Brisbane, Australia. Now, this isn't a secret or anything. The creators of the show have used many opportunities to highlight different parts of Queensland. But how do Bluey and her family get around Brisbane? Well, there is an episode called Trains, but they don't actually take the train in any of the episodes, instead relying on their trusty bright red car. But if Bluey were to take a train in Brisbane, what train would she take? Well, our correspondent Bear flew all the way to check it out. Today we are riding Queensland Rail, specifically the electric commuter train system that runs around southeast Queensland. This journey starts at the International Terminal of Brisbane Airport, where Bear and his friend David have just landed and are now looking for the train station. Easy to find with these giant signs that really remind me of the signs that you would find at like a theme park or maybe an aquarium or something. I don't know, it's just something about the font, the bright colors, but it is helpful because it led them right to the platform. The airport line serves both the international terminal and the domestic terminal and takes passengers to the central business district and south towards the Gold Coast.
Where are we headed today? Right, the Gold Coast. Different city name though. What's the city name? Robina. We're gonna head there. So train's coming in 8 minutes. Getting excited.
Queensland Rail runs these electric commuter trains, which are known as the City Train, but they also run regional services to different parts of Queensland that are not shown on this map. All train service falls under the umbrella of TransLink, a state agency that oversees things like ticketing for public transportation in Queensland. Now, in southeast Queensland, which is where we are, all public transportation is only 50 cents, except for the airport line, because the airport line is actually operated by a separate company. It uses the same trains as the city train, and we can take it into the central business district, but there was a company that was created to construct the line in 2001. Because they did that, they have a contract to operate it for 35 years, so until 2036, it is operated by a separate company, not by Queensland Rail, and thus has higher fares.
Oh, let's go. There's Wi-Fi.
So these trains are the NGR, that stands for New Generation Rolling Stock. They were built by Bombardier in India and entered service in December 2017, making them the newest members of the city train fleet.
So we are taking it from the second last stop, the last stop being Airport Domestic, all the way through downtown to the second last stop, Robina.
Just Shorecliff or the Doobin lines, platform 2. You have a lot of luggage. The lift is located down the rear end of the platform here. There's also a ramp.
We'll make a brief stop in the central business district before going to the Gold Coast. We're arriving at Eagle Junction Station, which is where we meet up with 4 other city train lines. One characteristic of the city train is that all the lines take a shared trunk through the central business district. Brisbane, with a population of almost 3 million, is the 3rd largest city in Australia and the largest city in Queensland. It also serves as the capital of Queensland. And Brisbane has a central station. It's served by the city train services, but its main railway terminus is actually one stop over at Roma Street Station. Not only does the city train stop here, but you can also transfer to intercity trains across Queensland as well as the train to Sydney.
Roma Street Station, any passengers travelling to Ipswich, Springfield Central, Rosewood or on long distance services, please change trains here. Roma Street Station, platform on the right hand side, direction of travel.
Speaking of long distance trains, over there is an electric tilt train which is used on intercity services to Rockhampton. We, however, take a sharp turn and then travel south, then southeast for another 60 kilometers towards Robina and the Gold Coast. Luckily, for the first section, we will be running express, while the parallel running Beenleigh line makes local stops. So train service in Queensland is offered by Queensland Rail, with the exception of the intercity service to Sydney and, of course, the airport line. But all public transportation here is overseen by a state agency known as TransLink. TransLink was founded in 2003 and it oversees all the public transportation providers. Companies that run trains, buses, ferries. They also set the fares for the region, which, remember, is just 50 cents, not counting the airport line.
This is a Gold Coast train, running express to Beenleigh, stopping only at Loganleigh, and then stopping all stations to Varsity Lakes. The next station is Loganleigh. Queensland Rail would like to remind all customers that for safety and security reasons, video surveillance cameras are in use.
Since we got off in the CBD, walked around, and then got back on a train, 50 cents is what we will be paying to get to Robina. Amazing value for such a distance. Brisbane can also expect a new railway super project to open soon, Cross River Rail. Kind of a funny name, as it crosses the Brisbane River the exact same number of times as the existing alignment. But Cross River Rail, scheduled to open in 2029, is a new underground bypass that will offer some much-needed relief through Brisbane's central business district. Currently, all city train services share the same corridor, and it is reaching capacity. Cross River Rail will see some services diverted to the new tunnel instead. The Gold Coast line will likely be one of those services to use the new alignment, meaning that through service with the airport line will likely come to an end, and passengers traveling from the airport to the Gold Coast will have to transfer. And with that, we've already arrived at Robina, about an hour and 20 minutes after leaving Central Station, an hour and 40 minutes after the airport. Traveling by train through southeast Queensland is great, and possible at a phenomenally low price. Perhaps in a future episode, Bluey and her family should leave the car at home and enjoy a trip on the rails. Thanks so much for watching today. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please subscribe to Trains Are Awesome. We'll see you next time.